Hi there guys, got a new video here for you today. This video is going to be on the Air Venturi Nomad compressor. I thought I'd give you a little overview of it, show you what's inside the box, and I'll probably show you filling up a gun as well. So this one came from Sportsman Gun Centre and was purchased by a friend. He's let me borrow it to one, fill up my guns, and two, show you a little video on it. So thank you to him. I won't mention his name, but he knows who he is. Right, so first of all, it's a nice sturdy box. The box is a double thick lined cardboard with foam inserts. On the top we get our instruction manuals. It's a good instruction manual, tells you everything you need to do in plain English, a lot of relevant information. Right, now comes the fittings. So this compressor comes with everything you're going to need to fill a rifle up, either from 240 mains volts, or if you want, it does come with the adapters to run it off 12 volts DC, so you can run it off a car battery if you're out in the field. So I'll get this all unpackaged and lay it out on the bench, and I'll bring you back in a minute. Right, so here's a better look at what's in the box. First up, we've got some cotton filters for the moisture trap. This fits on the gun using a Foster quick fit system and just stops moisture travelling from the compressor into your rifle, so you're always going to be filling your rifle with dry air. Next is the 12 volt DC adapter. I'll show you where that plugs in a minute, but it's pretty simple to work it out. And the 3-pin fused power cable. In the UK we use 240, but I believe they also do a 110 volts version. And then finally we have just a bag of spares. Spare fuse in there, a female Foster fitting, blanking plug, some leg extensions and a few O-rings, a couple of burst discs. Right, I'll get this cleared away and then we'll take a look at the compressor itself. The compressor itself comes in this very nice carry bag. It's got a couple of handles there so you can carry it while you're out and about, put it in the boot of your car, no problems. It's also got some zippy pockets on the front to store all of your power cables and your accessories. I'll take it out of the bag. From the factory, comes with a nice foam protector over the top, and we'll lift it down. What I'll do is I'll point out all the little features and what they each do, and then I'll give some general information on the compressor. So starting on the top, we have a nice sturdy carry handle, a pressure set gauge. This, you can twist this knob here and set what pressure you want the compressor to shut off at. For an FX bottle it's generally around 250 bar. For something like the Leshy 2, that's at 300. Now this compressor will do a 300 bar fill. I filled my Leshy 2 up on it with no problems, from totally bone dry empty in the cylinder to 300 bar on the gauge. Took about 7.5 minutes. So, not lightning fast, but certainly fast enough. Next up we have the load sensor. The manual tells you to use this as a oil indicator, so as you switch the compressor on, the load will increase to around 20 to 28. The manual says once the load consistently reaches 28, it's time to add some more oil. And I'll show you the oil port in a minute. You have two power buttons here. The power and reset button turns the compressor on, and the on and off button actuates the start of the fill. So the power button can be depressed, the compressor will turn on, and when you're ready to fill your gun you just push the on button. Moving down to the front, you have the bleed valve, which is just a knurled screw valve. You have the burst disc housing. The burst disc is a mechanical safety against over pressurising. Burst disc is designed to burst before the maximum pressure of the compressor is reached. Above that we have the male Foster quick fitting, which the moisture filter attaches to. I'll show you it all hooked up in a minute. On this back face here we have the fan and the oil hole. This is what I was mentioning earlier. When the load gets too high, you add another couple drops of oil. nothing on the back. And on this side we have a automated fuse and the 12 volts DC input. That's just that yellow connector there, so you can hook up a 12 volt battery and use that to power the compressor. And finally we have our 3-pin socket, which the plug plugs into. Finally, on the bottom we have an on and off switch for the LED lights around the base of the unit. You can have these on or off when the compressor is powered on, and a moisture release valve. The manual recommends after every 20 fills that you unscrew this valve, and it should blow any excess silicone oil and moisture out of the system. This is detailed in the manual. Right, so that's it, all explained. I'll get it hooked up like we were going to use it, then I'll tell you what some of the things I like and what I don't like. Right, so that's it plugged in. You can probably hear the fan at the back. That one is the low power fan that turns on as soon as the unit is connected to power. You can see that on the top here the power button isn't depressed yet, so it's not fully on. When we push this, blue lights on the bottom light up and the main fan starts up. Right, so I've unplugged it for now while we have a little chat. Now this compressor is designed to fill rifles and small bottles. It says explicitly in the instructions not to use it to fill dive bottles or cylinders. So I used this yesterday to fill up about half a dozen guns, and it filled each and every one up with no problems whatsoever. Average fill time depended on how much was already left in the bottle, but it took about 7.5 minutes to fill a completely empty Leshy 2 from 0 bar to 300, which I think is pretty good. So I just thought I'd mention something else I've sort of seen online. Lots of people have been using these. This is the humour fitting for the FX bottle. This does is screw in here and allows you to use a quick fitting on the end there to directly fill a bottle. I've found these things to be utterly useless. What I've found when I've been using one of these things is that it de-seats the bottle valve. What this means is it actually pushes the valve that's in the bottle, that little stalk there, pushes that down and off its seat. What this means is the bottle is no longer able to seal and will just leak air. This has happened to 2 of my bottles, and each time I had to remove the bottle valve and reseat the valve inside. So I can't recommend you use something like this. I would just attach the bottles to a rifle and fill them up that way. I've tried to use these on a number of occasions and they seem to work fine for 1 or 2 fills. Then all of a sudden it will push the valve too far and it will de-seat, causing the bottle to leak. So I don't recommend these. I would just fill it off the rifle. What I'll do now is I'll set the compressor up, we'll fill a rifle up together and you can see how it all works. Right, so we're going to be filling the DreamTech Compact. It's the cylinder version and these cylinders are rated at 230 bars max fill. You can see that just there written on the cylinder. So first off we'll connect the quick fitting to the fill port on the rifle. Make sure that's nice and locked in there. One on the compressor's nice and locked in as well. We'll close the bleed valve and we'll check to make sure our pressure is set at what we want it to up here. I've got it set at about 225 on the gauge there, so that should be fine, nice and safe for this cylinder. So I'll turn the compressor on at the wall. I will also mention that the moisture trap is closed, the one on the bottom of the compressor, so that's closed. Turn it on at the wall. And here we go. Right, and there we go. So that's the rifle filled. So we've still got 220 bar in the gauge here, so what we need to do is bleed that out. There we go. Now we can just unplug the gun, unplug the fill port, and we're ready to go. So that's about it, guys. Before you go, I just thought I'd share some thoughts on what I think about it. For the money, I think this is a fantastic little compressor. If you were someone who goes hunting or has a small permission somewhere, this would be the absolute best thing you could buy with your money. Fill a couple guns up, you're set. And it's perfect for filling up single guns and small bottles like the FX bottles. It's nice and quiet. I won't lie to you and say it's silent, but it's comfortable to be around. If you've ever been in a shop when they're filling the dye cylinder, it is deafening. Something like this is really nice to run it in your garage or somewhere like that. You're not going to bother no one. You probably won't even hear it if you close the door. It's a really nice made little unit, and it does come with a 12-month warranty, which is great. I can't see it going wrong, but it's always nice to have that little bit of peace of mind. The only downside I can see with it it's not really a downside, it's just out of the limitations of this machine, is that you can't fill a dive cylinder up. But a compressor like this is really good for filling up your spare bottles or your rifles, and you shouldn't really need any more than that. And the big benefit of a compressor like this is it can run off your car battery. So if you're outside in the field, you need a top up, you can just hook this up to your car battery and fill a rifle up. Right, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed, maybe learned something. So I'll see you in the next one.